Guys and girls, how we doing? Welcome back, Mantius back again. This is the last, and I promise this time it is the last of the quick overviews for the professions. I realised I'd done all the primary professions, but hey, why not look at cooking and maybe fishing in a little bit of detail as well, considering going into a new expansion, every single character can pick this up, and there's usually quite a lot of gold to be made. So let's start off with the basic stuff. You're going to get your light meals. These are your real sort of basic introductory meals. These are not going to do anything too fancy for you. Pickled meat smoothie, tasty, giving you 15k health, 12k mana, pretty basic things. If you become well fed, you gain 37 stamina. Why not? Really cheap to make, using a few vendor materials and then a little bit of meat that you're going to pick up naturally through leveling. Biscuits and caviar, same sort of deal, just without the well fed, using slightly less vendor materials and just a few fish. Continuing on with the light meals, there's a whole bunch of them you get. Butterscotch marinated ribs, 15k health, 12k mana, pretty simple stuff. The well fed buff on this one is 15 crit. You might start seeing a pattern here. Exactly the same with the apple meaty apple dumplings, the well-fed bonus being mastery. I'll give you a guess what this one might be, 15 haste, and then your sausages, 15 verse. Now the things to note with these is they do use quite a lot of vendor materials. If you are one of those sneaky goblins and it's the very first day of the expansion, I highly recommend getting yourself over to the vendor, buying a whole bunch of these vendor items. It's really easy to spot which ones are vendor items if you've played this game at least a little bit. But actually selling just these straight vendor items is usually good to make a whole bunch of gold early on. You will notice with some of these, if I quickly zoom over them, you'll see they often will use both meat and fish. It's going to be very difficult to level up your cooking without at least going and throwing your rod in the water a few times, unless of course you are willing to go spend some gold on the fish in the auction house. Stepping up to the large meals, same sort of situation again. You're going to get these quite early on. They use a whole bunch of vendor materials, some fish and some meat is usually the way that it goes, just stepping up slightly in material amounts. Candied amberjack cakes, straight health boost, straight mana boost, no well-fed bonus on these. Banana beef puddings, 50k health, 40k mana, standard stuff. Well-fed bonus of 120 stamina, that's pretty hefty at this point in the game certainly. And then you get onto your stat-specific food once again. There's not really much flavour that has been thrown into cooking, at least as it stands currently. There's no ranks for any of like there are in BFA. You just get the pattern and you're able to craft it straight away. And if at least last time I checked through all of these, there was not a single one that's hidden behind rep. So you can power through cooking pretty quickly, pretty easily. There are a few sort of the soul food section is that there's a few tasty things here. They have some interesting effects. If you spend at least 10 seconds eating, you'll become well fed and periodically belch, disgusting nearby allies in front of you. Seraphith tenders, these are quite a cool one. You get an out of combat heal for 2,000 every 5 seconds. This could be quite handy for, say for example, if you're out skinning, you kill a bunch of mobs, skin everything up, and of course whilst you're skinning you're out of combat and you've got this constant heal over time effect on you that is going to really improve your speed. When health pools are low, damage levels are low because it's the start of an expansion, stuff like this can be really helpful. Fried bonefish, well-fed buff of gaining short speed buff, so the beef tartare of Shadowlands, should we say. You might find that the beef tartare is still considerably cheaper to craft and easier to come by, at least early days, but as the supplies of that run out, your fried bonefish is going to in essence do the same thing. Quiet hounds, quite simply, take on a ghostly appearance, and then of course ignore the beeps, and then of course we've got the feasts. 2 levels of feasts this time going into Shadowlands, the surprisingly palatable feast and then the feat of gluttonous hedonism. These are going to be really expensive. These start using the rare fishes, the Elysian Thad or Thade, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that, but then they use a whole bunch of the previous items as well. You need your biscuits and caviar and your pickled meat smoothies, which if you remember from the beginning of the video were the first two light meals, really quick and easy to craft, but you need a whole bunch of them. You need 5 of each one, you need a whole bunch of meat, and then a whole bunch of fish as well, and that's just for the basic feast. Rough guesstimation, you're going to be looking at 1500 gold, I would imagine, for a basic feast, simply on the fact that these fish, the rare fish, it's kind of like your midnight salmon. I estimate these are going to be in the range of about 200 to 250 gold when the game goes live. These estimates might come back to haunt me, but this is just from past experience of expansion launches. And then there's the Big Boy Feast. The Big Boy Feast, which is going to give you the well-fed buff of 72 stats for an hour. This is the one that all of the Mythic Raiders are going to want, all of the M+s are going to want. These are going to be really, really valuable. And you can see by the cost of these, you then step up from needing only 3 of the rare fish to needing 5 of the rare fish, almost doubling the cost there straight away. And then instead of only needing 5 of the previous light foods or light meals, you then go to needing 10 candied amberjacks and 10 banana beef puddings, which are actually considered large meals and have additional cost to produce as well. The frustrating thing you'll see here is that you produce most things in quantities of 3, and then when it comes to the feasts you require sort of 10s, so it doesn't multiply out very nicely, but obviously if you have spares it just makes the next one cheaper. One thing I should really point out though is the Court of Harvesters revered requirement for the Big Boy Feast. So get yourselves out there, do some rep farming, get yourself first in line to be able to craft these feasts. You can probably throw these up on the auction house for a good few thousand gold and get some good sales early days. So there guys, I'll leave it there for this video. Hopefully that gives you a good overview of cooking. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll leave a playlist over to the side so you can check out all of the other quick look videos if there's a profession you want to see. So then guys, I've been Manthius, see you later, peace.